alaikum. Hi, everyone. Greetings to all. My name is Shahadah Abdul-Rashid, a community initiative specialist with the Free Library of Philadelphia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yaroub Al-Obaidi. I am the museum educator for Muslim Manuscripts World Project.
Okay. Well, welcome to our virtual show and tell of manuscripts of the Muslim world. This project is a partnership with the Free Library of Philadelphia and the Muslim community, and it's a celebration of Philadelphia's Islamic heritage and the indigenous Muslims who have worked towards building the framework of Islam in Philadelphia and America at large. Our program today will feature a presentation by our museum educator, Yaroub Al-Obaidi, showing a collection of manuscripts, Qurans, du'as, and other devotional texts, and things owned by the library and Philadelphians like you. This program is the first ever of its kind for the Free Library of Philadelphia, and we're excited to partner with the Islamic population to bring these items to you in a meaningful and authentic way. So even though the focus of the program is on the indigenous population, this project is open and inclusive to all who may have a spiritual or cultural interest or connection to Islam. And that includes many of you who are here with us today. So welcome again. So typically and historically, the indigenous population who are native to Philadelphia and America, and who happen to be mostly African-American in this area, have been an overlooked population when information is sought about Islam in Philadelphia. And even though we're the largest population of Muslims in the area, so that just gives you kind of a background. And just as an FYI, according to the census in 2010, Philadelphia and the Delaware Valley had about 300,000 Muslims just in the area. And I can say with certainty that the number has probably increased, but we'll have to wait for the 2020 census to see that. Also, many of you are probably saying, what the heck is a manuscript? I know I was saying that the first time I heard the word manuscript. So a manuscript is a book or document written by hand rather than typed or printed. So just so that we know, so when Yaroub starts showing us all the stuff, everyone knows what a manuscript is. So in a little bit, you'll be able to view some of the manuscripts that are in our collection on a guided tour by Yaroub. So when you view these items, keep in mind that this project is community driven and focused. So if you view something on the screen that you're particularly fond of, something that touches you, something that you're like, oh, I have to see that again. I have to see what that's about. Make sure you write down, it's like a little number that'll be associated at the side of the picture. Yaroub will point it out. Make sure you write down that number, or you can even feel free to take like a screenshot or a picture of it to remind yourself. And Yaroub can work with you to describe this item and what it means to you spiritually or culturally, or just why you like it. So make sure you write that down and Yaroub can work with you personally. And that can become one of the labels in our exhibition featured at the Central Library. You can actually become a part of history at the Free Library of Philadelphia, which is pretty exciting. You will see items that Yaroub will show you and describe to you. You'll see items as large as a table or small enough to fit in a jewelry box. So some are huge and some are this big. And you'll also see items that are from the year 1000, which is only a few years after our beloved prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. And that's pretty exciting. So before we get to Yaroub Al-Obaidi and showing off the items, I'll review a brief timeline. So starting now, we have our item curation. We'll work with members of the community like you to select and describe the items for the exhibition. One exhibition we'll have two. One will be featured in the Parkway Central Main Library, and that's in March of 2022. And we'll have a traveling collection of hands-on items, which are Islamic artifacts and treasures that will travel around to the different masjids around the city, different libraries, different organizations, and you'll actually be able to touch those, and you'll be able to really experience it that way through reading the labels, hearing about them, a guided tour, a self-guided tour, and you can actually have the items hands-on. And also in November, we will have conversational Arabic classes, and soon to come, we will have Arabic classes for the Quranic sciences. So those are a little bit more advanced. We're also having programming such as a henna party, jewelry making, calligraphy classes, and inshallah, hopefully you can attend all of it. So to learn more, please connect with us at mmw@freelibrary.org or text 215-326-9547. Feel free to ask questions, and we're answering them in the chat. You can ask questions throughout. We'll be answering them throughout, even through Yaroub's presentation. And we'll also have a Q&A at the end. So now I'll turn it over to Yaroub Al-Abaidi, our museum educator, and he can start showing you some of the amazing items. Shukran and thank you. Yaroub?
Thank you so much, Shahadah. And it's really a pleasure to be with all of you today. I'm so excited and looking forward to work with all of you, hopefully, on this project. And my work as a museum educator, I will try to help. Your work will be 100% yours. The description, the choose the objects will be yours 100%. I will try to help as much as I can to make it more organized. Maybe, I hope to make some benefit to you. This collection actually is more than 100 objects or artifacts in the free library in the rare book department. All of them is just very amazing. And this is my personal expression when I saw this collection. Is very amazing. Objects from Africa, depends to the category. Objects from Africa, calligraphy and script, literature and music, luxury objects, Quran and devotions, science and old objects. What I can say here, these categories represented the contribution of Islam, is the contribution of Islam in different fields, in literature, in luxury, in science, in old objects, calligraphy. And now we are waiting for your contribution. How you can make this collection visible to everyone. And of course, this will be by your connection, by your story that related to this object you will choose. That's why there is a question about why your story, why your connection is important to people. It's very amazing to see this object on display, but the people still want to see why this object is related to someone in Philadelphia, and why was the connection with that, what they remind them, and why they choose this object rather than 100. So this is the question came to my mind first, during my work. Like, for example, I will start with this object from Africa. And what you can see here, this is the case for the Quran, for 110 Quran from Niger, from the early 1700. What you can see in the right-hand side on top, exactly in the corner, Lewis 02. This number, I want you please to take it as a note. If you like any object of this, of what I'm going to present, please just write down or take picture for this, the objects, and especially the number. The number represent Lewis, belong to John Frederick Lewis, who's the person who contribute and who donated this collection and the other objects actually to the free library. Technically by his widow, by his wife, after he passed away, she donated the objects to free library. So Lewis is his name, Oriental number 2. So this number, it will be very helpful in our journey to curate the exhibition and to understand exactly which objects you chosen and how we can make it more related to your story, to your to your connection. What I can say now, this is the object, is very amazing to be in display, but is more important how to provide a magical touch to activate the objects by you. So the exhibition will be your exhibition is not, you will be the curator for this exhibition. It's the community-driven exhibition, and that's why your contribution, your story will be important. So when we look to this object, some of them like 100 years or 1,000 years, is very important. Is effort by some people, by some like people in that time. They did so much hard work to make this handwriting, hand decorating, painting for a reason. But there is still kind of stories not yet told. We want these stories to be told by you. So you will say, I choose Lewis number 2, O number 2 because of 1, 2, 3. I believe that this is the important for people to know. And this is the important also to enhance the engagement between the community and the Free Library as the house of this great collection and some other collection. I will go through the objects one by one, and through that journey, I will start to share some of my thoughts about why is important and what's my work about. So this from the early 1500s, this piece of this Quran is actually written in animal skin, and this is from Africa. As you know, Quran is something is very important, because it's not just like any normal book for Muslim people. It's the sacred book. It's the book like have the law, have the regulations, have signs. What you can say is the constitution for Muslims. So that's why this book is very important for Muslim people, and that's why to write this book, to decorate this book is very important. So let me go to other piece. This one also from West Africa, from the early 1850. This number, Lewis number 35. The relationship between past and the present is very important, and it took a place in people's mind. So now we are the people, we live now, and these objects came from 100 years ago. So what the relationship between us and between these objects, that's the very important thing. And always the people who go to any museum, they think about how this object connect to me. They think behind the object itself, and where it came from and how old is it. But beside that, they think about the relationship and why the curator choose this object to be on display. So the curator will be you, and the reason why this on display will be also your reason. So the concept and still exists, and I believe from this what written on animal leather, or maybe very the old generation of paper until now. That's the connection we need to forge the bridge between these two things. The same concept, but we have different times, we have different technologies, we have different techniques now. So this is another piece, is also Quran from Africa. For example, just let me give you example. Lewis C6, for example, this one, when I choose this page specifically because of this paragraph I found is related to me, or maybe remind me of something. So that's made this object, even beside, as I say, Al-Quran is a sacred book. So beside that, this chapter or this paragraph remind me of something That also will be important to know for someone else who will be one of your exhibition audience. And that's actually still a great question to discuss. So the responsibility of people is to engage with, is to create the engagement between the audience and the archive and the books itself. So this is this responsibility by you and who will choose to be a curator for this project. This is the responsibility to create that engagement and to engage the audience with the objects through your stories, through your description of the objects. Usually the institutions like museums, like libraries, they try their best and what they can do to create what is called the museum or the library community. So those people who will transform the space from it's just physically to be emotionally. So that's, I'm not just looking to this objects in this space in the Free Library of Philadelphia, but at the same time, I emotionally connected to this object. I found myself, or I found the story very interesting for someone who live here in Philadelphia now. He found himself or herself connected to this object, came from 100 years ago from somewhere around the world. So this is most important and most about the current museum and the exhibition functions. One more thing here is very interesting, because this, maybe some of you say how this objects is handwritten and why they are very organized. What you see here, Lewis 0171, in the right-hand side, this is actually the ruling board for marking the lines. So this came from Africa, early 1900. So this one actually, how they use the people in that time, in the early 1900s, they used this technique to make the lines very organized. So this board marking the lines and make them, like what we have right now. And this actually is very interesting when you look to this technique, how the people made this work. This is very hard and need too much effort to make it happen. So this is one of the things maybe connected to someone and he found himself so related to this object, for example. So this is the other thing I want to mention here, I want to address, is the level of or the relationship between the enjoyment and learning. So this thing kind of, I enjoy the knowledge, enjoy the technique in that time, enjoy the how I will learn, and I will very enjoyable to learn about the people who live in that time, who create these objects and leave it to us. And the other thing, and in the other hand, there is another thing, another very important. Now this one, I enter the calligraphy and Quranic script. So the definition of, or maybe the important part is the engagement between the visitors and the community as well. So what I mean by the community is the people who will be the curator for this project. And okay, sorry. Okay. So this is calligraphy and Quranic script. This one from Iran in the early 1500s, and you can see is very amazing, and this decoration is very nice, very well decorated. And through the work and through my work with you, we will have something to say, like, this is calligraphy, Persian calligraphy detached. And here we have, I mean, through the journey, we will have some transitions, some steps to, to think about. First step is the meaning. How do you relate? How do you relate to this object, for example, and why it is important to you? This under the category of meaning. So why? How do you relate to this object, and why it is important to you? Of course, I will be so happy to work with you deep on these questions, to answer some of these questions, to be your contribution, to be your description for the objects you choose. And this is since like 1700. This one of the several copies of the epic poem of Shahnameh from Iran. This under the literature and the music. So after the meaning, we are going to observation. And under observation, we will say, what is the first thing you notice about the object? So for example, this object on left-hand side is about under the literature and the music category. So what the first thing you notice about this piece of this page? Maybe you notice sometime the writing, even in different language, but it looks nice to you, maybe, or maybe you can understand this language. Maybe you will notice the painting is about fighting between this person who ride the horse and the other monster. So what's the first thing you notice about the object, and is there anything confuse you about the objects? So this also will raise another question about what I know and what I confuse or I don't know, and I want to learn more about the object. And all this actually will be under the observation. And the observation is very important step in our work to understand the objects, to see why is related to me, what's the important, what I know, what I don't know. After the observation, we will go to different to another step is the reflection. Where do you think the object came from? For example, this one, or maybe this one came from India. This one, Mughal court painting, came from India. So where do you think the object came from, and why did someone make this? So why the person in that time, in since early of 1700, why did someone make this, for which audience? So this will be also another question, another something interesting. Why the reason why this person made this, and is it maybe he think about kind of audience? So we are different than that, or we are the same people we in the range of him to when he did this object? That's the question. And the other thing, who do you think the object is for? This what I just say is about the community or about the audience. Why this person make this, and do you think is for who exactly? And what you learn from this object? This is another question. What you learn from it, and who do you think might benefit from this object today? So this is what I just mentioned earlier, like, is about the connection. Who is the person will be benefit of this today? For example, we have, this is under luxury objects. We have this few bindings, and you can see that the people there in that time, they not just take care of the inside of just handwritten, but they also take care of the decorating the outside of the book, made it in a nice binding, very you can see it's very colorful, very nice. So this related to our question, who will be benefited from this object today? So we know that in that time there is the people who read this handwritten objects, is the people who are who make benefit of it, but who will benefit from this object today. This is another thing hopefully we can address in our work. So this more views of book of poetry in Persian in the early 1805, and this is also another luxury object. Another one, floral details on every page. You can see they they take care of it. Very nice. This is another luxury object. Lewis M332 and Lewis M55. This is pieces of Quran and devotional text. And you can see this is few pieces of Quran written very, very old, 100 years ago, very large Quran. This is from South Asia, early 1700 with Persian translation and commentary. You can see this is what we in right hand side, and the one in left hand side from Turkey from the 1758. Also, all is Quran and devotional text. Yeah, and that's the reason why Quran is very important for Muslim people. As I mentioned, it's the sacred book for Muslim, and it looks like the constitution, the way to follow for all Muslim came from Al-Quran. That's why it's not just not just normal book, but is very well decorated, very well finished, and at the same time is very important. Like this one is very nice and very detailed. Quran is this is very small, as miniature Quran is very small, and you can see here like this object is very well finished, very detailed, and at the same time they took care of the cover as well. I hope everyone could see this piece, just like it's not just like maybe 1 inch in dimension, is about 1 inch, and it's very contain all the Quran on it. Here, these 2 copies of the Dalail al-Khairat. In the left hand side is all the names for Prophet Muhammad, Ahmad, Hamid, Mahmud, Taha, Yasin, and this all the names, the nice names gave to our Prophet. In the right hand side, this painting represent and describe Mecca, when all the Muslim people they go to pilgrimage to Mecca, and Mecca is the very important place to Muslim people. That's why it represented in some painting with very nice painting with the golden color, and we have the pilgrimage that's actually once a year, and we have also something like Umrah. This one Muslim could do all the year. So for example, you can say this one is related to me because my father go to pilgrimage to Hajj, or my sister go for Umrah. So maybe this object related to you from some point, and you want to have this as example to tell the people your story through this object. So all these objects related to Quran and devotional text. And here is very important, as I mentioned, this categories is the contribution of Islam in science, Al-Quran, calligraphy, painting, so many things, so many contributions. And there is here, there is something is very important, and I found very even personal for me under the science category. This is Muslim and Hindu scholars translating from Sanskrit, but what I found here in right hand side, this is the genealogy of Fatah Ali Shah, And when I look to this book, for example, for the first time, I found my name. I found Yaroub here. This genealogy is the family tree for all humanity, started from Adam to all prophets until very late. And Yaroub is the grandfather of Arab, and he's in this book. So that's why I found this book is very important for me, and I found very exciting to to look at my name here. And that's of course one of the things maybe I want to show in the exhibition. Now after you can see this astronomical calendar scroll, and this also under the signs. This under the very old, this is from Iraq, from around the 1,000 years ago. This is a piece of one page of Al-Quran written in Kufi style. So after we go to all the steps like meaning and observation and then the reflection. So the last step is the further investigation. I mean, in our journey will be the further investigation. What more would you like to know about the objects? What more information you think that you want to know about the object to make it, like what I say, to make this object is very connected to what you want to put on display. And that's another thing also. We will help you to give you more information, to give you more details about the objects. And of course, that will be is our work. One more thing, how would you like to see this object used in a program? So this another thing, another question you can also ask us, like I would like to see this object used in a program in this site. So that will be our pleasure to help you to do that. And that's actually very important for us to have what you want. For example, this one under the very old category, the object Lewis O number 183. For example, this Quran is from Egypt, from the year 1300, and you can see this one is very, maybe I feel this is very important because this is from Egypt. This one of is a different kind. Is not Kufi calligraphy. This is different type of calligraphy, different style, and that's why maybe I feel this is very nice to have it. And I would like to see this object used in a program, maybe for teaching Arabic, for example. Maybe I will advise the people who learn Arabic to read this one, to practice on this very old and very valuable copy of Al-Quran. So this maybe will be your contribution. You have this suggestion. Through the project, of course, we will reach to what we have and what we want to do, and what the question we want to ask, what information we need to have, and how we can contribute to this exhibition. So is the community exhibition is open to everyone who want to share with us, or open to everyone who want to work with us to create the exhibition by next year. One more thing, and the last I want to say here is very important, because beside these objects we have on our collection, we will be so happy to have any objects you have at home, either book or maybe something else. So you will say, I need to have this object, I keep it for this reason, and I want to have this on display. So you will borrow us the object for some time to put on display, and then of course you can have it again. So this another part of the project is not just what we have or all, but what you have and what you want to put. And this actually another very engaging part of the project is not just what we have on our collection, but what you have also, and you want people to see and to engage with. For example, I will share with you something. Actually, this is the object I want to put on display. This is Lamassu, is belong to the Assyrian Empire. Assyrian Empire is in northern Iraq. This one actually, because my hometown, I'm from Iraq originally, and I would like to put this object on display for many reasons. First, is this Lamassu is the golden, is the ball body with the human head, and is very important. Is in many museums around the world. There is a piece, in Metropolitan, in Germany, in France. There is so many copies of the Lamassu. But why this is important for me? First, because this is since 1975. So this one is actually older than me. This object older than me. And the other nice thing about this object, when you look to this, you think that is a statue. Yes, is a statue, but at the same time is a bottle. So that's another thing made me very interesting to put this and to show the people that I have this object at home, and I will be so happy to have it on display to tell the people the story of Lamassu and why this is important for me, and why I have it at home to look to it every day, So this is another part of the project, and we'll be so happy to have your contribution, to have your, your objects, your book, your anything valuable for you, and you want the people look to it. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Looking forward to work with all of you very soon, even individually or in groups, to make this work more, more practical. And yes, Shahadah, now is our time for any questions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Yaroub. So did everyone see what Yaroub did with his Assyrian statue / water bottle? That's the same thing that you can do. And you can describe the item as well. Sorry, my cat wants to meow every time I'm on Zoom. My bad. If you belong to a group and you would like for us to do a similar presentation, we can do that for you. We can do a presentation exactly like we did here today, and just contact us at either the email address or the phone number, which will be dropped in the chat. And also, just as an FYI, this presentation is recorded for anyone to be able to view it at a later time. I believe it'll be uploaded to YouTube. So now we will have our question and answer